National Day is a very significant day because obviously it commemorates the anniversary of the 1967 referendum, where we, for the very first time, expressed our right to self-determination, where for the very first time we decided on our destiny and we started building our nation, and in a way the story of the Gibraltarians came about. On a personal note, it fills me with pride to think that my father was a part of that effort and that incentive and that moment in time. But of course, for all Gibraltarians, it's a hugely significant day.
Well, we certainly seem to be at political crossroads. Where do you stand on the issue of constitutional reform?
I believe that we're in a moment in time where constitutional reform is necessary and inevitable. Obviously, we're at the cusp of a Brexit, and we therefore will be needing to re-identify ourselves and what we want as a people. And I believe that most people will want frontier fluidity, good relations with our neighbours, prosperity, and a good quality of life in the future. And in order for that to materialize, we're going to need some type of constitutional reform post-Brexit. Now, however, we haven't yet received any detail of any proposal or potential proposal or any agreement or plan. So until then, we won't be able to comment until we see the fine detail. But inevitably, the decision will always rest with the people. And this is something that our party has very close to its heart in terms of our values, is that public participation at such a seminal moment will be crucial, and we will be there in order to see where that takes us, and we will obviously be putting out our views. Together Gibraltar is a very pro-Remain party, and we believe that most of the people in Gibraltar have an affinity with the European project. So we will see in time what transpires from these talks and how we go forward. But as long as our red lines are always respected, the future will always lie with the decision of the people of Gibraltar.
There are those, of course, who believe that greater affinity with the EU means distancing ourselves from the UK.
It all depends what kind of proposals come our way. I think that the Gibraltarian people are a very proud people with very strong roots to the British family of nations, and I think that ideally we would want some kind of solution going forward where we retain our links with the UK while enjoying better communications and relations going forward with our European allies. So I think that obviously we need to find a solution that works holistically and doesn't have a negative impact either way on the people of Gibraltar. So it's all about what comes through, and we want the best solution going forward. We want to have a good frontier flow, like I said, and we want to have good relations. We want to be prosperous, and we don't want to fall off a cliff edge come the 31st of December. But I think now is a crucial time where these negotiations are happening, and where we can try and voice our needs and requirements for the future as fervently as possible in order to get the best solution for the future.
Well, this is of course a very strange year, but what emphasis would Together Gibraltar give the day?
Well, obviously this year the day will have a very different emphasis, whereas every year we would all gather in casemates for the rally where our political passions would overflow and people would have big parties. This year it's quite the opposite. We're facing a global pandemic and we need to be responsible, and so the emphasis this year, I would say, is to be responsible, to heed public health advice, to celebrate by all means, but in small groups, to take care of our elderly loved ones and keep them away from big groups, and make sure that we're mindful of the threat that is the coronavirus, which obviously we've been very lucky to dodge for now, but we haven't seen the end of, and we need to be very mindful that it's still very much around.
Well, National Day is our day, a day of unity. Do you feel it's more important than ever that we are united, or perhaps with everything at stake, more important that we actually hold the government to account now?
We're living in a democracy, and in a democracy we have a duty and an obligation to hold the government to account all the time, whether we have challenges or we're having a very easy ride, and especially in a way when we have challenges, because that is where the balance of democracy comes into play, as crucially as possible. So I believe that as parliamentarians and as political parties, we have a duty to hold the government to account. But what we shouldn't be doing is hijacking a difficult time for political party gain. We should be constructive, which is something that I've always prided myself on being as a parliamentarian. We should lend the government a hand where they need it, stand by them when they do, but ask the difficult questions and hold them to scrutiny, which is exactly what we have been elected to do.
And a personal message from Marlene Hassan Nahon.
The day is a day of great pride, like I've told you, so it's a day to reflect and be happy and thank our forefathers for all their hard work. But at the same time, this day, given that it is a very difficult one with the pandemic and the issues of Brexit coming our way, I want to send a message of solidarity to people who have suffered the domino effect of the pandemic and are finding it hard to find employment. I want to thank at the same time our essential services, our healthcare workers, our teachers who are now facing the new normal with all the hundreds of pupils, yourselves, the media who have been doing an amazing job keeping us abreast of events all the time. And I want to ask people to stay safe. And I also want to send a special message to the family of the patient in the CCU and remind them that in Gibraltar, we are not just a statistic. Everybody is well known. Everybody is a person. And therefore, we all stand with the family of this recovering patient and we wish them the very best and let them know that our thoughts are with them.